All right, Twister. 1996, second highest grossing movie of the year, Jimmy.
What's the number one?
Independence Day.
Oh.
Which nearly doubled Twister's entire box office. It's like the gap between first and second that year is crazy. It's so weird. But yeah, Twister, second highest grossing movie of 1996. Kind of considered, I don't know if cult classic is the right word because like it made a lot of money. And I feel like cult classics, I typically think of movies as, not doing that well initially. Yeah. But classic, I guess, at least for people our age and a
classic
little older.
Action movie.
Yeah, classic disaster movie.
Classic disaster movie.
Yes,
I think that's the way to go with it.
Directed by Jan de Bont, who directed Speed with Keanu Reeves. He was also a director of photography for like Die Hard and some of the Lethal Weapons and stuff. So he's a guy very well versed in action. He has not directed anything since I think the second Lara Croft Tomb Raider movie.
Wow.
I was looking that up. But yeah, I had seen this movie. I mean, well, I guess obviously we're talking about this because Twisters is coming out this next week.
Subscribe for that review.
Yes.
Yeah.
Apparently it has like basically nothing to do with this movie. Maybe set in the same world, but I don't think there's like any of the same characters or anything. Maybe vague references. Seems to be pretty separate though. But I had seen this movie in science class in high school. I think in two different science classes.
Wow.
And so 2 times total. This movie's quite a bit of fun.
I think this is a great fun movie.
It's a pretty fun movie.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
At times. Unintentionally at times, but at times intentionally hilarious.
It's very earnest, I think, in how it presents itself, and that lends to some of the humor of it because it plays everything so straight. And some of the ridiculous stuff in this is you just have to laugh at because it's kind of stupid, but in a very fun way.
It's funny because it's earnest. You're right.
Yeah.
This is co-written by Michael Crichton.
Yes.
Which, as I was watching this, I was like, this is a lot of Jurassic Park feel to it. Like Jurassic Park.
I guess I didn't pick up on that.
I thought the main two characters had a lot of Sam Neill and...
Yeah, I could see that. Laura Dern.
Laura Dern. What's her character's name?
Sam Neill's not the character.
Sam Neill is the... Dr. Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler. I was like, it's Ellie Sullivan. I thought it was the main character specifically. I was like, this guy's just Alan Grant.
Yeah, very similar.
Just the way it was told, a lot of that. I just felt like just that classic 90s vibe to it. So... yeah, when it was co-written by Michael Crichton, I saw that in the credits. I was like, oh, wow. It's on to something there. But yeah, no, I thought this was a lot of fun. Much to my surprise, my man Cary Elwes is in this as a huge fan of the original Saw movie.
Jonas Miller is his character.
Yes, playing Jonas Miller, the antagonist. I thought he was just hilarious in this movie.
As always.
He's got like a southern accent, which is just great.
Yep. I didn't recognize him at first because there's like the initial.
I recognized him. I was like, wait a second. Well, there's Cary Elwes.
Like the very first shot of him, he's in that like truck, like pulling up alongside him. I did not recognize him in that truck, even though like you had told me ahead of time that he was in it. I guess I didn't know exactly where I was expecting him in it. And then like it was after they stop and he's out of the car like talking about his tech or whatever that I was like, oh, there's Cary Elwes. There we go.
Yeah. Immediately, Emily too was like, "Is that the guy from Saw?" I was like, "Yes, it is." I'm like,
absolutely.
I think it is. Golly.
Yeah. Bill Paxton, rest in peace, is the lead in this. He's great. I think I know him best as the lead in Twister more than anything else.
Oh, certainly.
Like, I mean, like Aliens. He's the lead in a lot of stuff, but better stuff than this probably. But this is what I have always known.
He's
from
him and Joe or whatever the lady's name is.
Yeah, Helen Hunt.
They're the core of this movie. I mean, the heart of this movie,
and they're great.
They
They're
are
very
great.
good. I guess, we can talk about the beginning of this movie because I love how Joe has like a superhero origin story. That flashback scene is hilarious.
So funny because it's happening.
Yeah.
And it's 90s effects. And I love how they're in the cellar and the dad just is trying to hold the door and he
Can't
just
hold it anymore.
And they're just he's just blown away and they are completely fine 5 feet away. I was like, why didn't he just
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like the only way that like it's so stupid that he's trying to hold it shut. The only way that would make sense is if it gets blown open, then they get in danger. But they're fine. So like, why doesn't he just go down deeper into the cellar with them? Hilarious though when he's screaming, "I can't hold it any longer."
Sounds like me on a long road trip, Holden. I knew I would use that again. I just used the rim shot. Check out the full podcast link below to hear another rim shot.
Great.
That's how you really get engagement, Holden.
With rim shots.
Yeah. This movie was great. And I think it's really well paced too.
Yeah.
It's comically fast paced at times. And I love how the score will just go 0 to 60.
Well, okay,
just immediately. I thought it was just so fun.
I wanted to mention the score, like the main theme for this movie is like very not fitting for the movie. It feels like very like it plays mostly at the beginning and a little bit at the end. And I was like, this does not fit what I remember of this movie when I was listening to it at the beginning. I was like, and as the movie went on, I'm like, yeah, that's a strange piece of music there. The best part of the music though is when they're first riding towards the first twister they go to, and it does this remix of what's the name of the song? It's a Deep Purple song. But it's
I love that just
the
the
William
electric,
Tell overture.
I like the electric guitar that just comes up too.
Yeah. But it was like a Deep Purple song alongside William Tell overture, and then they start singing like Oklahoma from the musical, and like the way that all mixes together sounds great. I'm like, I don't know why I didn't do more of this throughout the movie because this is a really cool just arrangement of this stuff, but really got me pumped for getting to a twister.
But yeah, no, I mean, also you have Philip Seymour Hoffman in this movie as what's his character name? Dustin. He's great. He's got a lot of fun.
I always forget he's in this movie. He's just, I feel like Philip Seymour Hoffman after a certain point just became known for being in like really good movies and then also the Hunger Games stuff. And so it's just weird to me because I think this was earlier on in his career, like seeing him in Twister, I think was kind of funny.
He's fabulous.
He's great.
He's really good.
A lot of energy. Todd Field is in this movie. You can look. I don't know how to describe which one he is. He's the director of Tar. Also, and I mentioned this during our Tar review, co-creator of Big League Chew.
Wow. What a life.
Jeremy Davis, that's Balder from God of War.
Oh, really? He's also in Lost. That's
yes,
right.
And he's in The Black Phone. He's the dad in The Black Phone.
Okay.
Which I remember seeing him in The Black Phone, and he like does the Balder voice in that movie. I'm like, why do I know this guy from? Oh yeah, it's Balder in God of War. Right.
Also, Alan Ruck, aka Connor, the eldest sibling from Succession.
Yes,
he's in it. He's great as well.
He is awesome. Yeah, I think if I were to have one complaint with the characters in this movie is I think it's really like aside from Philip Seymour Hoffman and of course our two leads, the other characters kind of just blend together in terms of just being like this big crew, and they have a lot of energy. They're fun to watch.
And Bill's wife.
Yeah, and Bill's wife too. Yeah. But yeah, aside from them, they kind of all blend together, and I wish there was just a bit more to make them stand out.
Or just fewer of them, so you do
that
them.
too. There's a lot.
Do you need like 6 truckfuls of people?
Yeah. How do you pay all these people?
That's what I'm wondering. I'm like, how do they? This has just got to be a hobby, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess. Like it makes. Like,
how can they afford all these Dorothys?
They talk
Where
about
are these Dorothys coming from?
They talk about how Carrie Elways is he's like a sellout. Like he's a sellout storm chaser.
I loved all his high tech equipment that he had. Hilarious.
It's so funny. I like how he never once gets the upper hand in this movie.
No.
That is like the only thing, like at the beginning, he shows up, he's like, I got all this good equipment, neener kind of thing. And then
he gets to go on the news and be like, yeah, some people realize
Yeah.
how, this can be bad or whatever.
But then every other time he shows up in this movie, he just like misses the tornado, or at the very end gets sucked up and killed by the tornado. Which that's another part I died laughing at.
Okay. There's some funny moments in this movie, and all of them do involve the tornadoes, the twisters. One of them, which is the first time this movie is just hilarious. I guess other than there's
The
like
opening.
the opening. Yeah, that's hilarious. And then they cut to like the outer space footage.
Oh yeah, the satellite.
Yes.
Very 90s CG
Oh,
satellite.
unbelievable. But then they had like on a screen, I'm like, was that supposed to be like a computer graphic? Was that supposed to be like a screenshot of a computer graphic? Because like later on it's in that, but I'm like, the way it was played in the movie, it made it seem like that was supposed to be actually a satellite revolving around the Earth.
Yeah, I guess
real.
that's I forgot about the screenshot thing. That's how I always took it. It was just like the actual satellite. But I don't know.
yeah, but I mean, if it wasn't supposed to be, they did a really bad job conveying that at the beginning.
Yeah,
because that was just hilarious how bad the CGI was there.
Oh yeah.
And the effects. Then you have the moment where they see the first one, and you see the cows.
Yeah.
Just they're like floating.
That's
hilarious.
an iconic part of this movie is the cows. Everyone talks about the cows and Twister, when that's like something people remember. Very CG cows. Very funny though.
But yes, Carrie Elways and his little partner, they have the funniest death.
Yeah.
The
driver gets impaled by
He's like, I doesn't even want to go. He was like, I want to turn around. He's like, you better keep moving forward. Very like Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
The Green
And you don't
Goblin
see
getting
it
hit
all.
by his own glider, just and then getting sucked.
It reminded
into the
me of
tornado.
it reminded me of Jamie Foxx and Baby Driver. That's what I was thinking of.
I don't remember that, but just and the tornado going up, and I'm like, and I literally said aloud, I'm like, please blow up. I said, please blow up. And then they just land, and their truck blows up. I'm like, that's not. They don't just blow up like that.
Well, and it's funny, like they
just
show
like
up
a
there.
stock footage explosion.
They show up there after having not been in like the previous 45 minutes of the
Yes,
movie.
I'm like,
I was
where are they at?
I was like, where are they at? Have they like? Has the movie forgotten about them? I was like, I was kind of expecting the movie to just drop them completely and for them to just not show up, but they did. I even like made a note of it. It was like, what happened to Carrie Elways? The next note was, oh, never mind, there he is.
I tell you what, though, technically impressive when they drove through that house.
That was great.
Just
that
great.
looked awesome.
Ages so well.
Yeah. I think, obviously the tornadoes are all CG and a lot of the stuff with the tornadoes is CG, but there's a lot of really good car stuff in this that looks really great. I mean, I think even when like people are in the tornadoes, I think it looks very good when like all the wind blowing everywhere, all of the various just debris that's flying around. It looks incredibly dangerous to film in.
How would they not get hit by debris? There's no way.
Well, I know. I was reading something about how and that I think Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt both during like one of the scenes in a tornado or something, like the lights they used to like illuminate the scene or whatever, it was like the special type of light that they didn't filter properly and they got temporarily blinded. They like they were like blinded for like 3 days or something.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like. And there's some other stuff. I think Helen Hunt got like injured filming this or something. Like it feels like this was there's some wild stuff behind the scenes.
Well,
here.
you got to make sacrifices to make art.
Absolutely.
But no, this movie, I think, is just such a blast. And it was so fun because I invited people to come over and watch it. Holden couldn't make it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
He made other plans. But it was just fun to watch with other people because, it is just a fun, lighthearted disaster movie that does have a good like character core to it where you are rooting for these people to get back together. And you do kind of feel bad for the wife.
Well, okay, I was going to mention that because I like distinctly remember like the last 2 times I had seen this movie. I remembered like the wife character. I think they're fiance because technically they aren't married because Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt hadn't gotten fully divorced, right?
Yeah.
So they're fiance, whatever, they're together. I remember that character being extremely annoying. I was like, I went into this movie like this time going like, oh God, I remember this character just being like complaining a lot. And she does complain, but also she's just like the most normal person in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, all these people are like crazy. And she's just like,
let's go after another Twister. You crazy? Yeah. She's like what Willie should have been in Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
You know, like this is insane, but I'm not just annoying insane.
Yeah. She's not just screaming all the time. She's really only complaining and screaming.
She's trying to do her job remotely.
Yeah.
She's trying to accommodate. She's trying to accommodate her fiance.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's coming along for these insane rides and everything. And then she's decides, nah, you're having too much fun with this.
This would be an interesting double feature with Past Lives.
Yeah. I guess it would.
Have similar thematic cores, character arcs, and ideas brought up. But
yeah.
I don't know. I feel bad for her, but she's you know what? You go be you.
Yeah, you go have fun with your storms.
I thought when you said I chased tornadoes, it was more metaphorical. Yeah.
I mean, so one thing that I think is going to connect to Twisters, because I didn't remember that like the Dorothy is like these little ball drone things, and that's in the Twisters trailer. I remember
Except they're going to
that.
Stop the tornado.
Or something, right? Or that's at least what that trailer implies. So I guess that's at least maybe that's going to be an evolution of that technology in this next movie. But for some reason, I had completely forgotten the whole like main core concept of them like trying to release these things inside the tornado. I did not remember that, but I liked that. And then their makeshift way of getting them to fly with all the Pepsi cans. There's no way they would have made those all in time.
I could have drunk all that Pepsi in time, though. I'll tell you that much. There was a lot of nice moments in this movie. The moment where they do get the sensors to fly into the tornado at the climax,
very satisfying,
and you see the graphic like you did. It's a big moment of celebration. Mm-hmm. That moment hits, and also when they're inside the tornado, it's beautiful, and the effects are pretty good. Mm-hmm. And you really feel that, and it's very much like, again, comparing it to Jurassic Park. It is like they're seeing the dinosaurs. Like this is what they live for. It's the scientist who's obsessed with this one thing, and they're actually getting to like experience it in a way that nobody else has really experienced it before.
Yeah. Well, and no, that all looked great. I love that moment at the end there. I guess kind of backtracking to what I had said, because I was just thinking about it. I didn't really understand like why the balls wouldn't just be picked up by like if they were just on the ground. Why wouldn't they just be picked up by the tornado?
I'm not sure.
And maybe there's a reason, like they have to be properly launched or something. But I like with how much that those tornadoes pick up, like the cows and the trucks and everything. I'm like, why are they like? They're like, I'm not sure these are gonna fly. I'm like, why wouldn't they fly?
That's what I was wondering. And also, why did the people never get picked up?
Yeah,
except for the end.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I like when they tie themselves to the pipe and everything. That's very good. That looks great. That whole aspect of it, them flying.
No, it's a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. Obviously, of the whole sequence of like the mom
or the aunt.
The aunt.
I
sorry,
think she's an aunt.
She's not the mom.
I think they call her like Aunt something. Maybe it's the mom.
I thought it was just her mom, but
Aunt
I don't
Meg
know.
is what they call her.
Meg.
Unless everyone else just calls her Aunt Meg, and that's.
I don't know. She's just the motherly character. Anyway.
She is, and they're all like, "Oh, we gotta go get food from Aunt Meg. Let's go get food."
Good looking food.
Yeah,
gee whiz,
very
just
tasty.
Steaks,
mashed potatoes and gravy. Apparently, her gravy is famous.
Yeah.
Another very funny part of this movie that I have seen, I've seen this clip around a lot, is at the dinner table when like the when they're like talking about like, oh, tornadoes, F2, F3, F4. Then the wife is like, what about F5? Everyone falls silent. It's like we don't talk about F5s kind of vibe. It's so funny just how serious they take that. Like F5, it's the finger of God. That's what they say.
The finger of God. That's right. I thought when she's stuck in their house at her house after the tornado, and she's like, they're getting her out of there, and then there's the TV. And
Oh,
I'm like, are they gonna just drop it? They're gonna get her out of there, and then just TV comes and just lands on her and crushes her. Like that would be the most tasteless thing to do. I thought they were building it up for that.
No, that's obviously not a tornado centric part, but them going in there and the place collapsing, and when the whole place collapses after they get out, that looks great. I'm sure that was all just a set they made and collapsed.
Mm-hmm. We got one shot at this.
Yeah.
No, well, a lot of it's very good in the destruction of the city and all that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The another funny part that's not necessarily, this part's not supposed to be funny at all, but like when they ride into town and like this sappy music is playing, everyone's like coming out of their homes and everything looking very distressed, obviously. But like, I don't remember exactly what Joe says, but Joe's like, they didn't have enough warning or something. And it's played so sappily that I'm just like, this is very funny. It's like very corny, very corny moment.
Hilarious. Your town got destroyed by a tornado.
Hilarious.
Funny. Yeah, well, I was going to say something. Shoot. I was going to talk about how timely that The Shining is playing at the drive-in theater with the passing of Shelley Duvall.
I forgot to mention that from Tom's, but yeah, Shelley Duvall passed away.
Yeah, and literally there she is on the screen as that scene's playing out.
Oh, and I did make note of that. I liked how The Shining just happened to be jumping between all of the very famous scenes.
I was like, I don't think it's been that much time yet.
Seems like it's pretty like just the few minutes have passed.
They're just watching the cinema sins, everything wrong with The Shining.
Through, ding, ding, ding.
Passing through, ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Cinema sins in a nutshell. I think there was a lot of funny stuff to this. I liked everybody's just really 90s look too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So 90s.
Very 90s.
I love
outfits.
it when things are high tech in the 90s too.
Yeah.
Just hilarious. The cell phones.
Oh yeah. When the wife character, I can never remember what her name is. Melissa's her name. But yeah, when she has her big old cell phone, pulls out the antenna and everything. God, imagine being alive during that time.
I mean, we were alive in the 90s.
We were. Not 96 though.
No, not 1996. 1 year too early for me. But Holden, you got a couple more notes. You want to say what you got to say?
Philip Seymour Hoffman talking about the suck zone. Pretty great. Liked that. Okay, so obviously the tornado system was named Dorothy, like Wizard of Oz and everything with the tornado. Was the dog's name Toto at the beginning? I can't remember. Like at the very beginning when they're trying to get the dog to come down into the cellar. For some reason, I have lived with that impression for a long time that the dog's name was Toto, and I completely forgot to make note of it when I watched it. So
I don't remember that. I mean, I could pull it up here real quick on Max while you're saying that stuff.
It doesn't. I would not be surprised if that was the case. It'd be very on the nose. I like a lot of the movie is.
Yeah.
But I mentioned how the main theme was very corny sounding. I just have here written the word cow because Joe at one point just yells out cow when a cow flies in front of them. Thought that was pretty good. I like how everyone's walkie-talkies are just tuned into each other. Mm-hmm. It's just very funny. They can just listen to Carrie Elways constantly. They're just all on the same frequency, I guess. It even I thought, what's this?
No, you keep going.
Okay.
I'm checking.
Okay.
I'm checking.
Poor dog there.
I'm not listening to you.
Okay.
You just keep going.
But also
Toby. I was like, I don't think.
All right.
You're crazy.
Well, it was T.O. something.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, but even towards the beginning of the movie when Bill Paxton is driving out with the crew for the first time, he has this radio in his car that is just automatically tuned into what they have too. I thought that, I don't know. I thought that was
you just
funny.
go with them.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's they're just using the same frequency they always have, I guess.
Why wouldn't you, Owen?
I don't know.
I don't think it's that weird.
No. The weirdest part is that Carrie Elways is on the same frequency.
I don't think that's that weird either.
I think that's pretty weird, but it's funny. I think
they're like, get off this frequency. I think they say that.
They do say that. All right. What else? Todd Haynes, I said, director of Tar, co-creator of Big League Chew. He says he's the one who says the line, "That's no moon, it's a space station." He yells that in this movie.
I don't even remember that one.
Yeah, I don't remember. It was like this, maybe the second tornado or something. They just see it in the distance, and he's like, "That's no moon; it's a space station."
I just do not recall.
Can't believe you didn't pick up on that as a big Star Wars fan.
I must have just been blanking out during that.
Talked about all the CG objects flying around constantly. I did write this.
There's some really bad sky replacement when that first Twister comes in. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
Just horrible.
Apparently, and so I was seeing something. I think this was just released on 4K recently, and apparently on the 4K version during the storm scenes, they made it like a lot more green, which is, I guess, like more realistic to how tornadoes actually are. So that's interesting. I don't know. Haven't seen it when it's more green, if it's actually good or not. I wrote down here, I know the movie isn't this deep, but it really just feels like a man relapsing into his addictive vices. Yeah, the drive-ins jumping around different parts of The Shining. Whenever they're like in the storm, there's not, aside from like maybe the very end when they're like tied up or whatever, they don't really have any music, which I think is pretty effective. Like they don't just have any score. They just let the wind be very loud and like let that kind of envelop you and keep you, immersed in the movie.
Pretty impressive tracking shot at the end, too.
Oh yeah,
like helicopter.
With the tornado destroying that barn and what, or at least that's what I was thinking of.
Well, also just at the end of the movie when it tracks out.
Oh yeah, that was great too.
The house is just fine.
Yeah, I like how they just
tornado.
say that. They're like,
they didn't get the house.
Oh, the house is fine. Carrie always died. Thought that was funny. Driving through the house, you mentioned that. I said half of this movie is just the crew yelling, "Joe, Bill, are you guys all right?" over the walkie-talkie.
Driving through cornfields.
They do that a lot of property damage that they just commit to the cornfields.
That guy, his truck.
Yeah.
Several thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Tens of thousands of dollars just gone.
There's the moment on the climax of the movie where they're running away from the tornado after the stuff has gotten launched, and they go in the barn. And Joe is like, "Oh my God, who are these people?" When they see all the tools.
Sharp weapons.
Yeah, and I'm like, "They're farmers, Joe. They're farmers. Farmers have these tools."
I'm also like, why are they going in the barn?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's not going to help you.
No. And then I mentioned that the shot of them running in the field with the F5 tearing up the barn behind them is quite good looking. I don't know. It's very fun movie.
It's a great movie.
Said. Yeah, I can see why it's like become such a favorite for so many. A fact I learned about this was one of the first movies released on DVD. Apparently, ever.
Really?
Yeah. So and obviously this came out, Blockbuster video rental stuff was still a big thing. So I think that combined with just being probably a very good movie to rent on VHS helped land this as a childhood favorite for a lot of people that I know, actually. Mm-hmm. Not myself. Neither Jimmy. And this is Jimmy's first time seeing it.
Yeah, and we definitely owned it on VHS. VHS, I just never got to it. Yeah.
Yeah. If I recall, this is one of those movies I remember seeing in like discount DVD bins at like the grocery store all the time.
Oh yeah.
And if I recall, maybe my dad will hate me for saying this because I'm wrong or something. I seem to recall him saying he didn't like it, and maybe that's the reason I never watched it or anything.
And maybe that's the reason you resent your dad.
Yeah, Scott Sutter. Why'd you lead me down the anti-Twister path?
Well, that is going to be our look back at the movie Twister. If you enjoyed that, stick around because we're going to go and talk about Twisters,
next week.
Sequel, next week. So subscribe, stay tuned for that.